Travel sketching. I'm going to get my 4 special friends, okay, to tell you a little bit more about travel sketching. Okay, so in case you think we're in Men in Black, not really. Okay, Tia, you can see on the right, our promote from Bangkok, we're waiting to get into the Alhambra, Granada. Alright. So Urban Sketcher is actually a non-profit organization dedicated to raising the artistic, storytelling, and educational value of location drawing, promoting its practice, connecting people around the world who draw on location where they live and travel. So our motto is we show the world one drawing at a time. So the gentleman on the bottom left, Gabby, is actually a Spanish journalist based in Seattle, and he was invited by Seattle Times to actually draw 1 sketch a day, to describe his city, the city that he's new to and living in at that time. And he chose, instead of using a camera clicking away, he used sketches to portray even a soccer match. Okay, and you can see how powerful the sketch can be, and it's very different from looking at the event through a lens or a picture that's taken by a camera, right? So we're going to hopefully help you experience what it feels like to draw on location. So I'm an urban sketcher. My name is Paul, and I joined the group in 2010, so that's about 4 years ago, and I picked up this draw on location habit, and it has grown from just drawing in a corner where I don't want anyone to see me to drawing in public spaces. And you can see at the top right hand corner, I was drawing with Lynn, and she's from Manchester. We were part of a symposium held in Lisbon 2011 in Portugal. And also I sketch when I'm on holiday. The sketch you see below, when I'm on holiday, just like to leisurely take my time, have a cup of coffee, capture what's right in front of me. We also have friends from around the world. You saw some of our Asian sketches from Bangkok, from Malaysia. We also have Imma. She's the lady on the left. She's actually from Spain. She lives in Seville, and we visited her. Sweetest from India originally, on top right, but she's now residing in the US. And also, I have friends from Tel Aviv, Israel, Marina in the middle, and this English gentleman living in the US. So we come from all walks of life. So you think that today all the sketches that you see are all professional? Not really. We may have a different day job, but we just like sketching together. Alright? And if you look at the map, we now have about 55 city blocks. So Singapore is one of them. And we have about 100 international correspondents that blogs about our city, where we travel to. And on Facebook, now it's no longer 10,000, it's 11,000 Facebook friends in the group. So if you'd like to join us, please feel free to join us on Facebook, where you can be updated with what's happening around the world. Alright, and we're still growing, and we'd like to now reach out to people in China, people in India, people even in Africa as well. Now, if you have visited our blog, urbansketchers.org, okay, you will find a very informative website where we tell you about what's going on around the world. So, for example, Frank Lynch, who was drawing the city that he lives in or traveled to. We have workshops. We also have books that we like. So, if you'd like to look at resources to learn about urban sketching, you can try looking for this book called The Art of Urban Sketching, which we published about 2 years ago. And it's a collective of a lot of the sketching tips from around the world. You can see some of the tips from Tia and Don from Singapore as well. And this year we'll be holding our 5th sketching symposium in Paraty, Brazil. So it's from the 27th to the 30th of August after the World Cup. And this is where sketchers from around the world will come together and attend about 25 workshops. So you can pick different workshops that you're interested in, okay, and learn about sketching from friends and instructors, renowned instructors from around the world. Alright? So this is what we do every year. So the blog is a very helpful resource. So if you are looking at the tools that we like to use, it is also found right in the tab where we say art supplies that we like, books that we like. So there's a lot of resources to help you get to know urban sketching. So what sets our group apart from other sketching or art groups? We have this very interesting manifesto that I'd like to share with you now that sets us apart. First manifesto is that we draw on location, indoors or outdoors, capturing what we see from direct observation. So this is key because we do not draw from photographs, we do not draw from imagination, we actually draw from life. Okay, so you will be encountering this today with with us. Second, our drawings should tell the story of our surroundings, the places we live and where we travel. Our drawings are a record of a time and a place. So, pictures, you can see Paka is right behind our cameraman today, and he was sketching with Tia and KK, who's pointing his finger from Penang, and we were looking at Alhambra, okay, right across from this mount. And I was sketching, on the right side, again looking at Alhambra, and in the distance it was a really hot day. So our sketching experience very caught that moment, and we have a very vivid memory of that. We also use any kind of media and cherish our individual styles. So today, if you are sketching with a pencil, that's great. If you like to use crayon, like to use marker, that's fantastic as well. So you're welcome to use what you are comfortable with. We support each other and we draw together. So you have RC from Bangkok sketching, I think it's Caroline, okay, from South Africa, and we were sketching in Lisbon together. And then you can see Jenny, okay, with 3 Bangkok kids behind her, and Zarihan sketching in the corner. That was part of our Bangkok sketching trip. And we share our drawings online, okay, so we don't just sketch and keep it, but we actually, retell that to the friends around. And definitely we want to show the world one drawing at a time. Alright, hopefully this is starting to make you excited. So today's theme is why travel sketching? Why don't we just click away with our camera and move on? But if you ask yourself, a lot of times when we look at the photographs after the trip, we don't really recall where we actually stood to take that picture, or what actually happened at that point. Or we talk about travel sketching, like this one that I did at Alhambra, Granada with KK and Cromwell, looking at the beautiful garden of Alhambra. We sat there for a good hour, so we had the guards talking to us, we could listen to the waterfall, we could actually, pick out the flowers that are growing in this awesome garden. So there's something very unique that we hope to share with you about travel sketching. It's quite different from taking a picture, and you find that this freehand movement is coming back again. People are picking up a pencil instead of just using a digital electronic media to capture an experience. So without further ado, I'm going to call upon my 4 sketching friends. First up, we'll have James. We'll talk about his trip. He spent, actually, to tell you, 6 months away from Singapore, what he did, okay? And then we will have Fabian, right at the bottom. And then we have Phyllis, and then we'll end up with Patrick, who will wrap up the short sharing session. So at the end of it, we will open up the floor if you have any questions. So there's not things that you may want to ask them, So they'll also be giving you tips, okay? Sketching tips. So listen up carefully. So first up, let me invite James. So please put your hands together for me.
But not mainly to do sketch traveling but just to be more of a sideline for me, I suppose. So when I first joined urban sketching, it was just a couple of people, and so it's good to see how the drawing bug catches on, and there are so many people just attending a talk like today when you could be at somewhere else. I started from Asia when I was in March. Then in Asia, I moved on to Turkey, and I went to Eastern Europe before I ended up in Bangkok, where I had my massage and all that before I came back to Singapore in September. So all in all, it was a 6 months, and probably for 2 people, we spent like maybe 40,000, which is actually quite decent. So it's actually doable, and that's for 6 months, not crashing in some weird little one-star hotels and all that. So yeah, that's what we did actually. So just talk about what I learned during the 6-month traveling. First, people are always interested to draw. So when you're out drawing and all that, probably just always observe people nuances, the way they see, the way they stand, or even crowds. They're always interesting to draw. And you can use variety of mediums, whether it's dry medium, pen, ink, or wet medium, watercolor, and so forth. So the first picture on the top left was Vicky, and after a while started to look suspiciously at me and started to walk over to me and look over what I was doing and all that. So we started to talk a little bit. it's always good to, not be shy and just draw, and people might be curious and look at you, but most of the time it's really more interested to find what you're doing rather than trying to shoot you off and all that. The one on the left was done in Montenegro. Montenegro is actually part of Yugoslavia before the Balkan Wars and the break apart. So it was some weird place at Perez, which is like away from Ufa and Koto. So it was at this lake, and this boy was like, the boatman was kind of ferrying us from around the lake. So he was sharing with us his life. He's just 19 years old. He's going to join the Navy and etc. and all that, as I was drawing him. So again, when you draw people, you find a little bit story about the person you're drawing. So again, that makes people interesting to draw. Okay, you're a bit adventurous with your drawing. So you can see like the one before I did some pen, I did something, and this one I try to do more watercolor because I really know the watercolor. So it just allowed me to practice more than anything else. On the left is actually Warsaw, Palace of Science and Culture. It's a very huge building that was built by the Russians when they invaded Poland actually. So now it's kind of an eyesore to the Polish. So in retaliation they named it Palace of Science and Culture because they just want to poke fun at the Russians for building the ugly thing right in Warsaw itself actually. So this was drawn when I was staying in the hotel right opposite the building. The one on top again is a little island in Perez, and then the one bottom is actually Koto, one of the UNESCO site in Montenegro. Again, I was experimenting with just different mediums and all that, maybe watercolor on different papers and things like that. So again, just be adventurous as you draw. You find something that you're comfortable with, but can go out of your comfort zone, try different things, and try different things. You find that whether it's in the feel of it, the way you draw, it could be different as well. For example, if you use pencil and versus you use charcoal, it's a very different way of drawing, and so you should kind of make use of the medium and utilize it to its potential. Another thing I learned during the travel is moments are important as you draw them. So this is akin to storytelling, like what Paul mentioned, urban sketching. The one that there was actually in Patong Beach, Phuket. This was towards the end of my travel. So we're just kind of relaxing. So, I just scribbled some notes, for example, the street dog was sleeping, or, people were just sunbathing and all that. Then on the top left is Krakow at the horse carriages. I actually wrote some notes there as well. I think talking about the cost of the horse carriage. I think I wrote that it costs $40 for the horse carriage to go around the city areas and all that. And the one bottom was in Seoul when I was having dinner with two old friends two Korean friends and all that. So, when you don't just find any opportunity to draw when you want or when you can, anything could be interesting, and it's up to everyone to just see what catches your eye, and not it must be draw a nice picture or anything like that. I just want to share my experience. I was in a hot air balloon in Cappadocia, part of Turkey. So we had to wake up like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning to go to this place to take the hot air balloon because of the air turbulence or something like that. So for a trip like that, when you're in a hot air balloon, you know that it's very hard for you to really use a pen slowly, meticulously draw. That will not be possible. So this is actually done using brush pen. So always improvise and see what the moments require, and then you just draw as accordingly. So I was still drawing as the pilot was adjusting the hot air balloon, the fire, as the hot air balloon slowly rises. And then there were some scenes I was trying to just capture as much as I can. And then it don't have to be nice or pretty, but at least it is more the way you see things in front of you, and just basically have fun about that. I think that's basically all I have to say. This again is the same view again.
My name is Fabian. I joined the Sketchers Singapore about 2 years back, and right in this location. So my first sketchbook was in January at the National Museum. That same year, I actually went to the Sketching Georgetown trip in Penang, which I think you saw the video just now. And since then, I've been taking my sketchbook overseas when I go on trips, and I've been making sure I make some sketches. Sometimes my friends have to wait for me like 2 hours. Only one sketch took 2 hours. The rest I try to keep it quite quick. So the most recent one that I went to was to Siem Reap, Angkor. And I went with 3 urban sketchers, and there's another Singaporean artist down there doing his stuff. So he's painting, so he took us around. And we did, it was purely quite a sketching trip. Parker was there, and a couple of other friends. So the first day, the first morning that after we landed, we went to the Tonle Sap Lake, where there's this floating village. So it's quite a poor area. And on the way back, we visited this place they called Kampong Kleng. And because the lake, the water level rises very drastically in the wet season. It can rise from 1.5 meters to like 12 meters. So the houses are built on very high stilts. So we went down there and we did some sketching. And while we were sketching, this whole bunch of children came by. And then, they came and they started looking around. Then they started massaging us. So, like drawing. So sketching, as James says, is a good way to meet people, because it kind of brings down the eyes. People think that, oh, this guy is so friendly, and they come and talk to you and try and engage you in different ways. So for this one, we met some children, and they were very happy actually, despite the poverty. So it kind of made me realize that maybe you don't really need a lot of things to be happy, especially when you're a little kid. Maybe when you learn to derive your joy from things, then you learn to be miserable. So that's a couple thing. Another day we went to Pak Prong. That's where all the trees are growing on the buildings of this temple in Angkor. They shot Tomb Raider down there as well, so they had this Tomb Raider tree. So while I was drawing, there was these 2 little kids. They were on school holidays, so they came and say hi. Quite cute. The guy's name is David, his sister's name is Dalis. Their parents are working nearby. The mother's studying souvenirs, and their father is a security guard. So after I finished doing this thing and I was actually applying the watercolors, Dalis came over and she started pointing at my watercolor palette. I was like, why is she pointing? And she was pointing at one of the colors. So I thought, oh, okay, she wants me to use that color in my sketch. And she pointed to neon pink. I'm like, how you use neon pink? So I can't, okay, maybe the clothes can use it. So after I did that, and she pointed to another color. So basically, she became my collaborator on this piece. Yeah. The interesting thing about this temple is I like to write a lot of stuff on my travel sketch journals, because it gives some background and helps me record the experiences. Pak Prong, what happens is when the trees start growing on the buildings, they actually depend on the building structure for the support. Then when they mature, they actually split the buildings apart. So the buildings become dependent on the trees for the support. So the rows kind of reverse. Then when the trees get too old or they are falling apart, then they have to be cut down, otherwise the buildings will weaken as well. Then this is also in Angkor Thom. When we arrived in Siem Reap Airport, there's this pamphlet that I picked up. So it's something about prevent exploitation of children. Because the people there are very poor, and tourists are like, a lot of them see tourists as a way of making money, or whether through business or through solicitation. So when you're sitting there sketching, right, you can get approached. So I think it's good to know how to handle it. I mean, you can't really blame them because they have a lot less than us, and we can travel to their land, they never get to travel to our land. So I was approached by this bunch of little boys, and they were carrying like donation cards, so I don't know if it's real or not. Parker was quite kind to give them something. I said no. Then they asked me for sweets. And I was like, no sweets on me, I'm sorry. So they said, if you go, I want to bring some sweets. So you don't need money, you can still give them something. Yeah, so they didn't look too happy with me. But, well, too bad. Yeah. So, do you know where this is from? Anyone? This was sketched at one of the bas-reliefs in Angkor Wat Temple. The bas-relief is actually 49 meters long, it's really huge. As today, I don't know, I took probably an hour or so to draw this. You can imagine those people who actually carved the stone for 49 meters took how long. So you kind of appreciate the amount of effort it took to, just carve one small little section of the bas-relief. So while I was sketching, first there are a lot of tourists going by, you can hear the story of the churning of the ocean many times over. And then you have tourists come, oh, very nice, and then one of this guy came up to me and, can I take a photo of your picture? I said, okay. So he took a photo. Then after that I asked him cheekily, I was like, do you want a photo of the artist with the picture? And he just smiled at them. I was like, okay, thank you very much. Next time I was like, you want to take, you must take with me also, huh? Then on the last day at Angkor, on the way out, I actually decided, okay, I'll do one last sketch at Angkor Wat. So I was sketching this, I was sitting down there, I actually did the colors at home, color pencils. So I was sketching and then suddenly there was this lady behind me, I was like, hey, that's me. It's like, well, okay, the one in the center of the picture. Yeah. So there's this Chinese lady from Lucy, China, and she was telling me, started chatting me up. So I started to converse with her a bit in Mandarin, and she was quite surprised. So she was like, oh, you can speak Mandarin? So yeah, all the Singapore Chinese have to go through Mandarin classes these days. So you get a bit of cultural exchange kind of thing going on. When you go and travel, you really meet a lot of people, and I think sometimes we get a bit annoyed when people come and talk to us when sketching, especially if they stand right in front of you when you're sketching. Okay, I had that in Penang. I sat down there sketching the walls, the guy was like standing in front of me. It's like, can you please get out of me? Yeah. So, but it's good to engage them because I feel that when you travel, you have to know about the place. And knowing about the place is also knowing about the people of the place. So you get to see how tourism affects the place, like all those solicitors and stuff. And the mindset of the locals, and so you're not so much just trying to see through your own Singaporean or Western eyes. So I find that quite meaningful, and I find sketching it's a good way to just break the ice and let people check you out, or you can check people out and just find out more.
Okay, thank you, Fabian. We're gonna now get Felice.
2011, when they launched the book, The Art of Urban Sketching, in the URA building in Maxwell Road. So this is a picture of me during the first sketch walk. I'm the lady in blue, right? So beside me is Milo. I don't know whether he's here. Okay, he is also in blue. Okay, so we can see that when I first joined the urban sketching, I sat on the floor. I do not have any stool, anything with me because it's my first time. Okay. Then, so I paint as a hobby, okay, and I like to do watercolors and pen and wash, which are more quicker to do, okay, and besides people like me who do sketching as a hobby, there are people who are architects in the group, there are also retirees, there are professional artists, also illustrators, okay. So this is a picture taken last year. So did you see any difference in between my first and okay, now I am very well equipped. Yeah. Okay, what do I have? Okay, because I want to enjoy sketching, but I also want to protect myself from the elements. So I wear long shirt, long sleeve shirts, long pants, put sunblock on my face. Because I discovered that when I sketch, like in the first picture, I always get different tones of color on my arm when I wear short sleeves. So I guess that this is the best way for me to enjoy sketching. Okay, I also have a stool now. I wear a hat. Okay, I also carry a small pouch, which I find very useful for carrying valuables with me. Because sometimes we are so engrossed in sketching, we leave our bags just around or behind us and we may get lost. So enjoy sketching, but also keep your valuables safe. Okay, yeah, and also take care of yourself. Okay, and this is the most recent photo. You can see that I have even more things with me. I have a table now. And this is actually a laptop table. Okay, and also I noticed that Milo is still with me after 2 years. And Milo also wears a hat now, and he has a stool also. And again, both of us are wearing checkers and in the pinkish and purplish tone. Such a coincidence. Okay, and the tools that I like to use, actually I have quite a lot of pens and paddlers. Okay, but this is what I do that I carry for outdoor sketching, and also my favorites. Okay, the fountain pen for quick ink and wash sketches are very good. Brush pen, I think you saw what James has mentioned. He did using brush pen for his Turkey trip. So I also like brush pen a lot. And the water brush is very good for applying colors to your sketches. All this I did not know when I first joined the urban sketchers. But through the wonderful people that I meet in the group, I learned a lot from them about tools, about materials. Yeah, so along the way, my sketches also improve, and still improving. Okay, so why do I do travel sketching? Like what Paul mentioned, it is an excellent way to remember and to enjoy the place. Sometimes, these two sketches are places in Penang, and you saw the video on Penang just now. Penang, besides good food, besides the beaches, it is actually a very good place for sketching. It's a sketcher's heaven to me. Okay, there's the old town, the George Class Old Town, whereby you will find interesting old places, old buildings, print shops, and also there's this beach street whereby you can find colonial buildings, very beautiful colonial buildings used as banks and commercial purposes. There's also the jetties that we saw in the video just now. Okay, so for me, for this narrow street that I sketched here, I happen to be at this road whereby I can see this very charming street with old walls with peeling paste, whereby you can see some bricks being exposed, and also in the distance there is this mosque in the street of Harmony, whereby they have 3 different kinds of places of worship there: the mosque, the temple, the Chinese temple, Indian temple. So I find that it is a very good view that I'm quite inspired to sketch. Yeah. Okay, so and this is my sketch for the Bangkok trip, which I joined together with the Urban Sketchers, which you saw in the video also. We went over to Bangkok to sketch with the Urban Sketchers in Bangkok. In Bangkok, I am surprised to find this residential village in the center of Bangkok itself. It's actually near the Grand Palace, Chao Phraya River, along there. So in this sketch, the top sketch that you saw there, actually a few of us sketch the same thing. Pia also sketched this, and her works are very different from mine. So it's the way that we interpret the painting, the scenes itself. So I think this may answer some of the questions that some of you may have about why do we sketch rather than take photos. When you take photo, everybody has the same photo, but when you sketch, you actually incorporate some of your interpretation of the scenes into the picture. Yeah. Pia's sketch is very wonderful. You can see at Temasek Poly, Global Connect Village. Okay. Then the next one is actually the Princess Mother Memorial Park. In this sketch, the people that you see down there, they are the urban sketches. Okay. Although it is a very rough sketch, but they can recognize themselves because of the unique features that they have. Okay, like Jenny, she's wearing a hat. Okay, like and some of them they are carrying a cover set, wearing the clothes that they can recognize themselves by the color of the clothes. Okay, so other than urban sketching being a very good way to enjoy the scenes, and to remember the place, okay, it is also a good way to express yourself, to express what you feel about the place in your sketch. Okay. So in this sketch is actually my uncle's house in Johor. Okay, when I was there, okay, my uncle has a plantation, a durian plantation. Okay. When I was there, I was quite captivated by the simplicity of life over there. So I saw this shed there, it's a working shed with some clothes hanging out there. I find it very unique. It symbolizes life to me. As well as this sketch from the kitchen in my uncle's house. Although you do not see any people there, but I think you can feel the life there because of the clothesline, the mop, the well. Okay, so I find that it is, to me, is quite meaningful. So. Yeah, so it's capturing the atmosphere of the place. Actually, when I first sketched from the kitchen, my uncle was asking me, what is there to sketch in my house? There's nothing, it's not beautiful at all. But after I sketched this and showed him, he said, wow, I didn't know my kitchen is so nice. So, okay, these are sketches that I did in Malacca. Okay, for this I also did it on my own, in my own sketching trip, in my own traveling. So again, I like the bustling street leading up to the Church of Malacca, as well as I really find this hotel that I stay in very majestic. It's called the Majestic Hotel. It's what I sketched this. It's a very old building, but very beautiful.
How long did you take to sketch the Majestic Hotel? Maybe you can tell us.
Oh, maybe about 15 minutes. Yeah. Okay. I apply color later. Yeah. So I actually stand at the gate there to sketch this while waiting for the tour guide to come. I joined a local tour to introduce us around the place. So it is these moments that you can catch during your holidays overseas that you can use for sketching. Yeah, I think that's a good question from Paul. Yeah, sometimes my friends also, a lot of people ask me, how long do you take a sketch, and can you manage sketching during package tour? Let's say I take a package tour. Okay, my answer is yes. Right? Because during package tour, sometimes you need to wait for people. Sometimes the itinerary may be a bit relaxed, so you can catch moments like this to sketch, right? And which is what I'm going to show you in this slide. Okay, you can sketch anytime, anywhere. Okay, these are two sketches that I did during my recent trip to Shanghai and Suzhou, so to visit friends. And I sketched this while watching performance. So the first one is a traditional Ping Tan performance in Suzhou. Yeah, so where the people, where the pair of the lady and the guy was telling a story by using the special instrument and also talking about the story. So it's called Ping Tan. Yeah. So and the other one, okay, if you have been to Shanghai, you may know that in Peace Hotel they have this very famous old jazz band performing at the jazz bar. Okay, so all the band itself, the members of the band, they are all very old. The oldest I think is 70 plus years old. Yeah, the youngest maybe around 40 plus. So while watching and listening and enjoying the wonderful performance, I also did this sketch. So it's moments like this that you can pick up for sketching. You don't have to have allocated time, like a few hours to do sketching. Yeah. And while waiting for your plane to take off, and also at the airplane itself, these are wonderful places for sketching because you have nothing to do right while waiting to board the plane. So I come across this very colorful candy shop at the Penang airport, and this is what I sketched. And can anybody guess where I sketched this from? Traffic jam in the car itself, yeah. So I was stuck, at the causeway, nothing to do, okay. So I took out my Samsung Note tablet to do this sketch digitally. So digital sketch is something that I find very convenient. You don't have to bring your sketch pads or your pen or paper. If you have your tablet or even your phone with you, you can sketch. And the tool that I use for this is Sketchbook Express. Okay? On iPhone, you can also use LightBrush. Okay? Or Samsung Note, the S Note itself is also a good sketching tool. So just feel free to sketch anytime, anywhere. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Actually, in the previous few sketches, there are some mistakes that I made, but I don't think it's obvious to anybody. So don't be afraid, just sketch, right? So I hope I inspire you all to do sketching in class. Okay.
Thank you, Felice. Please give a hand together for Felice. Does it feel like you've just gone around the world with her? That's how emotional, that's how interesting it can be. Let's have our last speaker. He's quite animated, so he may just do a song and dance for you. Let's have
Well, I'm not Milo, but I also wear a blue check and red glasses like you. So, and then it's just so happened that the first two speakers today, they were wearing red and everything. So maybe it's an artist thing, I don't know, we think I like. So next guy will sit with me. Okay. So, I'm Pat. Okay, and before I go into the topic, just introduce myself a little bit. I joined Urban Sketchers about 2.5 years ago. I think somewhere in August 2011. Okay, and it was interesting. I don't know, maybe some of you here are like that. When you were invited to join us for a sketch walk or something like that, you will feel like, oh, I've never touched the thing for a long time, and things like that. Don't worry, because I was like that. Okay, for a long time, I used to sketch as a kid a lot. Anything I could grab my hands on and I copy, and that kind of stuff. But life, busyness, and everything. I went into music, and music full time, for 15 years. And for all that 20 over years, I never picked up my pen and sketched again. Going through a very particularly busy, stressful, almost depressive period in my life back in 2011. That was when I suddenly chanced upon Urban Sketches because one of my friends was in it. Yeah, and one of the first sketches I saw was Han Sing, where you lift up your hand. That's the old master right there. He always say, what master? I'm always a student. Yeah. See, the real masters always say that. Okay? So I was like blown away, So I joined them in September for the first one. The rest was history. And then I found old friends like Paul inside. I never knew that he was sketching things like that. And it came right back. Okay? So this is an encouragement for you. If you're one of those like me, who today come here and you felt like the last time I touched or sketched something was 20 years ago, don't worry, okay, it will come right back, okay? Good. Well, I'm here to share with you a trip that I had recently to Israel. Am I blocking you? Maybe I should step down. Okay. I'm a Christian. All right. So one of my bucket lists to do, okay, was to be able to visit this Holy Land. To me, it's Holy Land. Because a lot of things in the Bible that was taught, that I've learned about, stories that I've heard, all took place here, okay? And so to be able to come for this trip, was really a dream come true. And it happened only just this past December. Yeah, I've tried a few times to go, but, in vain. But this time around, not only did I go, I had a whole family with me, my wife, my two kids, 9 and 11. And they had a blast themselves too. So why is this special to me? If you can go to the next thing. Okay. This is special to me because, you know, when I went to Israel, you know, suddenly everything that I've read about in the Bible, and things that, stories that I've heard and things like that, suddenly came alive because suddenly I'm able to see, I'm able to touch, I'm able to smell, you know, the things that are there. So as you can see from here, you know, like the center top one, you know, that was a 2,000-year-old cistern. Okay, back in the time of like maybe Moses, that kind of stuff. Okay, and this was how people trapped water in the desert climate back then. Okay, and you see the little stairs on the right, and then there's a long gun. Okay, rain will come only once, only in 55 days out of 360 days in that climate. So for them to survive, they have to devise ways to trap water. And then the rain water will come down the longkang, it will come into this little well-like thing with bricks at the bottom, and you see a little black hole there. That's where the water will go in, okay, and it will fill up for about 2-3 meters high. And that's how the village, you know, will depend on this for their livestock, for their plants, for their drinking, and things like that. Okay, and we actually drew water from that thing. So there was an instructor that was telling us about the history, and as he was doing that, I was busy behind, you know, just sketching it away. And then, you know, there were some sites where the famous stories of idolatry and so on and so forth. And then over at the left side, this is Capernaum in the north end of the Sea of Galilee. Supposedly, this was one of the places that Jesus himself taught most of the time, you know, because his house was literally a stone's throw away from this synagogue, things like that. So the reason why I put this up here is why would I choose to sketch? I mean, Phyllis touched a little bit on that, okay? Why do I choose to sketch when I can just shoot with a camera? A lot of times in the past, before I started sketching, everywhere I go, I always have my camera equipment with me. Okay, I'm an avid amateur photography enthusiast. Okay, a weekend trip, you know, to Bali or something like that, I'll have thousands of pictures. Everything I can, wow, I'll get down here and there. But why sketch when you can shoot? Let me repose the question. Okay? My question is, why shoot when you can sketch? Okay? Why? The reason is when you shoot, it's a very impersonal thing. You know, you find things in your lens, you find things in your viewfinder, and you snap, you move on to the next thing. Okay? But when you take time to sketch, you're forced to sit down or stand up or whatever it is, and you observe the surrounding. You take in information about the place that you're at, you know, in a way that you don't if you just, you know, step away quickly. And I usually, before I sit down and sketch, I will sit down there for almost 5 minutes just to observe the surrounding, smell the air, and things like that, you know, and see what's going on before I actually start. You know, and one of the things that you will find a lot of our urban sketchers will tell you, once you sketch a place, you'll never forget the place. And that's true, okay? And a lot of times, I'm doing my master's right now, and in class I sketch also, okay? And a lot of people say, hey, how do you listen to class when you sketch? Truth is, when I sketch, everything on my senses, my hearing and everything becomes alive. You know, and when I go back to my sketch again, I remember the things that were being said at that time. Okay? And so this is why we sketch, instead of taking a picture. Okay? I'm also here to share with you a few things about different types of trips, okay, and the relevant and relating expectations that you might have. Okay? But this one, first of all, is a 4,000-year-old well that was dug by Abraham himself, or his servant. Okay, it was recorded in the Bible in the story of Genesis and things like that. We were right there, 70 meters deep. We threw a stone. It took about almost 8-9 seconds to hear the boom. You know, still got water inside. Okay. Fabian and a few of the others, you know, like Baka, you know, they went on a special trip, okay, to Cambodia and to sketch. And so the purpose of those trips was to really, capture the place, observe, produce as many sketches as possible. And so that was the objective. But sometimes when you're travel sketching, you're actually on a tour. Okay, like in this case, or like Phyllis' case and things like that, or like you're having a group tour and things like that. You don't have the luxury of capturing everything. In fact, this sketchbook that I managed to do, I only capture about 10% of the things that I really, really wanted to. Okay, a lot of the other things are on camera. Okay, but it's okay. You know why? Because there's a difference between a sketch trip where you go to the place, like our Chiang Mai, like our Bangkok trip and things like that. When you go to a place specifically to sketch, versus sketching on a trip. Sketching on a trip is a way to capture your experience, in a way, in a journal kind of way. So it's okay if you don't capture everything. The more important thing is to capture the things that really speak to you. For me, whatever I had was whatever I had, and that's okay. There's no stress involved. You don't have to be worried about doing it or not. And sometimes we sketch and we were able to do it on location. We always do it on location, but sometimes coloring, the group have to move off. Then we went to our lunch place at McDonald's. I would just add color there based on what I remembered of the thing. Okay, so like I said, because when you observe very carefully, you remember where the light falls, you remember things like that. It will help you a lot. Okay, so don't worry, no stress about it. When you're on a trip and I don't get to do this, sometimes you can just do scratchy stuff, okay? Yeah, and stuff like that. And the next thing is journaling, okay? There are two types of urban sketching that we do, or I do, okay? One is really just urban sketching. It means I capture a place, I write maybe a few words about the place, what it is, and things like that. But for this particular trip, it was very important to me to capture the thoughts, the things that I heard about the place and stuff like that. It's for me to go back and savor it, the experience again through my sketches and through the words. Okay? And so I made a point to write down the things that I heard about the place, the things that I've learned about the place. Okay? And so what I wanted to say here is regarding this journaling and composition. When there's writing involved, you see every page here that I feature out here, okay? The Dome of the Rock, Camel, and then there was this place where we experienced on the right side, the top right, authentic Sabbath dinner, okay, with Jews around us, where they sing songs and they did stuff and they broke bread, every moment was very sacred. To me, it was very important to capture that moment, okay, and what I feel about it. And then, of course, the bottom here was a very important cave in the history of Christianity, because that's a place where they found original scrolls. They call it the Dead Sea Scrolls, in a cave over there, in little jars like that. Okay, and it kept, and nobody knew they were there for thousands of years. And when they took it out and they compared scripture today and scripture back then, it was almost word for word. The accuracy of that. So that was cool for me, and it means a lot to me to capture something like that. So what I wanted to say here was, plan your page, okay? Like you notice this one here, like the Dome of the Rock. I actually leave the page on the left, on the right side empty, okay? And I only capture the things on the left first. And I had with me a little notebook scribbler. Whatever I heard, I quickly write down roughly on the side first. Okay, and then I continue my sketching and I write on the side, that kind of stuff. And then I decide where I want to place my thing. And then later on, maybe back in the hotel or something when I'm free, I probably compose my thoughts before I write down, neatly the things that I want, so I can get a nicer looking page, kind of thing. So you can try doing something like that, or you can use an audio recorder if you prefer. Okay, and with regards to composition, it's just and everybody sees things differently, so even if there are things like, in photography, there are a couple of thirds, take it with a pinch of salt, okay, because not everything is by the rule. Okay, if you want to sketch like out there, later on there's a dome up there, it'd be very funny if you apply the rule of thirds right there. Some things just need to be right, dead center, that's fine, then you write around it, okay, and so composition, you can use your camera. Paco, do you have one of those squares that you use around? No? Sometimes what I do is, your camera viewfinder, when you turn it on, especially if you're using an iPhone now, your screen can actually help you find your composition. Because when you see, your eye has a way of taking in everything. And it's very hard for you to, unless you are trained to do that. And over time you find it's easy for you to do that. But if you are not, what you can do is you can actually move this around till you find a spot where the lines go, where this thing comes out from and that kind of thing, and the composition that you want. Then maybe you can take a snap just for reference. Okay? Or what you can do is like Fabian was saying, do this. Okay? Or you can get a cardboard, cut a square or cut a shape that is in the same dimension as your sketchbook. Okay? And you move that around. For those of you who are not sure about how to draw perspective, like three-dimensional distance, that kind, having a square like that will help you a lot, because then you will see, oh, this building, this line is actually lower than that. It touches the frame here, things like that. So this is some tips that we have to offer today, and I hope that it has been really helpful to you. So that's.
Thank you, Patrick. Please put a round of applause for Patrick. Can we get all our 4 presenters to come up on the stage? So we have James, Fabian, Felice. Some of us probably do not know what they do. At least we heard from Patrick. He's actually a professional musician. Yes. How about Felice? What do you think she does for a day job? Yes, she teaches professionals. She's a lecturer at Temasek Poly. How about Fabian? Okay, guess what this young gentleman does professionally?
I got a colleague out here actually. I work in visual effects for movies.
But he was originally
Well, I studied computer engineering. I've been drawing for a long time.
Fast and Furious, that would quickly,
and James.
I'm jobless because after this.
So you can see all 4 of them come from different walks of life, but we share the same passion. Now we like to open the floor up for some questions that you may have for the sketches. Do you have any? Yes.
When you travel with other people and when you sketch on a trip with other people, do other people ever get impatient that, hey, stop drawing and, talk with us, kind of thing? That's my first question. And then the second question is, how do you get over that, my drawing looks like a piece of shit. I don't feel like other people looking at me drawing. Then when you get to sketching public and everything, then, I don't know, when I try to draw in public, I get very, very scared. So how do you overcome that?
I can relate. Yeah, not all of us are comfortable from the get-go, doing that. And sometimes, to answer your second question first, confidence can be built when you sketch with people who are also sketchers. So if you join Sketchbox like that, and then when there's numbers, you actually feel safer, and they're looking at us, they're not looking at me, okay? So I encourage you to join our Sketchbox, because this is not plug, this is true. Because, I used to be very conscious about that, and until we do that so much, it became like, oh, okay, so people will always look, and that's fine, and anyway we've got numbers. And then we built confidence to the point where I'm sketching in a coffee shop somewhere, and people look, One of the things I found out, okay, that was true. Just the other day, on Saturday, we were in Little India. I was sketching a fruit corner, a fruit stall, that kind of stuff. Well, people were gathering, all the Indian workers and some of the residents that were there. That kind. So I was like, okay, just sketch. And then suddenly, next door, there was the mama shop. The owner came out and, hey, I thought, I want to call me or something. Here's a coat for you. It's like, yeah. So I discovered, and also from other experiences when people actually started asking questions, talking to me, they actually were more admiring, more curious, and more than they are judging. And so actually a lot of them wish they could be doing So it's okay, you know, if you know that as in a frame of mind, right, you're in the right frame of mind, then suddenly, you know, your consciousness will just go down. And with regards to sketching with other people, yeah, I meant to say that earlier on. If you travel with fellow sketchers, it's very easy. You notice how when we go and hang out together, it's very weird one, you know. It's a whole table, we eat already, and then everybody just... But we're connecting, it's true, we're connecting, okay? But when I try to do that at a wedding dinner, people will give me weird looks, right? You know, why are you doing that kind? So I think one of the things that you do is you put a lot of your stuff out there in Facebook or that kind of thing. When people sort of get the idea that you do this a lot, they sort of understand you. So much so that when I go with friends nowadays, hang out, I'm like, hey, not sketching. You know? Yeah, okay lah, I want to, but I help grab, you know, but my friend was like, hey, not sketching. You know? But of course, we need to be careful, you know, I mean, there are sometimes there's just social courtesies that we need to be aware of, but I think it's judgment, you know, your social judgment, whether is this the right setting, is this the right people I'm with, you know, if you're with department heads and you know, something, you know, maybe you don't want to do that, okay.
Thank you for the question. How about we take another one? Anybody has questions? Yes?
I'm curious, like, okay, when you sketch a lot of people, they keep on moving, how do you capture them fast? And second question is, when you have scenery and people, you want to make them, which one do you draw?
For the first question, like you said, there's a lot of people, there's no need to draw everyone you see. It's just more the sense of it. So it could be just some gesture, it could be just some of the, you know, you just use tones, you could just do some black tone and grey tones and all that. You don't have to be like, oh, there's 10 people, you must draw 10 people by it. It's more impressionistic feel of it. Just like if you draw animals and they keep moving, there's no way for you to draw animals that is just keep moving. You just have to kind of do it on the same piece of paper. If I move this, you draw this, I move that, I draw that. So the whole thing may not look complete, but by itself, it will be complete in that sense. And then to your question, second question, what's that?
Scenery and people, which one do you draw?
Scenery and people.
It depends on the individual. For me, you know, I like to draw people more, so I'll draw people. But if it depends on your perception of it, you see a scenery and see the people, what stands out for you? You think that the scenery matters more to you, so of course you draw the scenery. But you see a scenery and you see some people playing chess with the scenery. So to you, maybe people playing chess might be more interesting than the scenery. So then you just draw that. I don't think there's a magic formula that you must do whichever first. It's more what you think, because it's something personal drawing. It's what you see and what you draw.
Thank you, James. I think we only have time for one last question.
Okay, I also like to vary my medium a lot. To me, the way I approach one is how fast do I need to draw. Okay, as James said, he chose his ink brush because he had to draw faster, and that allows you to get fine lines as well as cover large areas at the same time with one tool. You know, otherwise you have the luxury of time, and it depends on how much you're willing to carry. If you're like me, you might carry too many things on one trip. And also what you feel at the point in time, you know, what you have to bring out of that particular scene. So at Angkor, there was one sunrise scene, I just decided to do pencils, you know, simple silhouettes. Then if I have more time, like you know, if some piece is very colorful, then hey, you know, if I want to just use color for using different like markers or watercolor, whatever you're just comfortable with, or you feel like experimenting with, it's just like no rules. It's just how I feel at the moment.
Thank you. Elise, you can add on this.
Because I do watercolors and also I do pen and ink and wash. So for me, I also have this question. Sometimes I wonder, should I do a big piece or watercolor piece, or should I do a quick sketch? So for me, yeah, it depends on time, because watercolor will need more time. Depends on the subject. And so I find that when I draw buildings, it's better to do a ink and wash. Because the building has a lot of intricate details, which is very hard to bring out using watercolors. Watercolors are good for doing impressionistic paintings. Maybe you want to create an impression of the building. That is a very good medium because there's no hard lines. But if you want to bring out certain architecture details, then maybe I think ink and wash is better. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, my four presenters. Can you give them one more round of applause? Now let's move on.
Some of us have brought our sketchbooks, so if you want after you come back from the show and tell, you can.
Yes. So each individual sketcher is going to present and bring you the unique flavor. So let's move along. We're going to now tell you what's going to happen next. So every last Saturday of the month, Urban Sketchers Singapore conducts an official sketch walk. So I'd like to explain a little bit about the sketch walk, which is good to be, we're going to invite you to join us for this mini sketch walk at the National Museum. So every last Saturday of the month, we go out somewhere to draw together. So please go to our Facebook for regular updates so that you know where we're going and what time we go. So there are three things that we do when we go for a sketch walk. First thing is that we meet. So you get an announcement before the Saturday itself, the same week. You'll be told where to meet, what's the starting time. And after meeting, there may be a route. We may tell you that there's 3 locations. You walk along this route, and you can sketch along this route, and you can choose when to stop, what to draw. So second, after we meet, we sketch, we draw. Okay, that's our core business. And lastly, after we come back from our sketch at the end of the 3rd hour, we share our sketches. So we show each other the fruits of our practice and what we gleaned from that 3-hour session. So this is what you're going to be joining us for the next bit of the event, where we're going to spend about an hour and a half or so just drawing around the museum, and let's see what's your unique point of view and what caught your attention. Okay. So let me give you 4 tips when you're drawing on location today. So you shortly assign a sketch leader. You should have been given a group, an alphabet and number. That's why you're sitting in those rows. We'll tell you what to do next. First thing is, when you get out of this place, please find a comfortable spot for your own safety. Make sure it is so shady, since we're experiencing a very hot weather the last few days and months. And also remember, if you're going out to the front of the museum, the car park is actually working today, so there are cars coming in and out. If you do cross the road, please make sure you observe the traffic. Second point is to take time to observe, like what Patrick said. You don't have to rush into sketching. Just sit down, observe the surrounding, what is interesting to you. So we're not clicking away like using a camera, but we're really asking ourselves some questions. After observation, you can start sketching. So if today you have nothing, we provided some pencils and paper for you. You can start small. So how small? Size of your palm or slightly smaller. So some of the sketches are going to show you what they do if they have only 10 minutes. So you can start with baby steps. Finally, you must relax, you must have fun. Okay, so it should be an enjoyable experience. So if you find yourself really tense, pause, maybe have a cup of coffee, and oftentimes we'll be talking about pen or pencil. So the sketchers may pull out all their stuff and start talking about them. So that could be a good way to help you relax. Okay, so the sketches below are by Parka, so it's a gentleman in front in a yellow t-shirt. So you can see his sketches are fairly small, I think. They're quite small, right? And they are very simple. So you can keep your sketches simple, especially if today is your first experience with us. Okay? So some of us may be captivated by people and activity. Some of us are captivated by architecture. So find what works for you. Alright? And we want to thank you for coming. So these are some of the resources that we have. So of course, please visit urbansketchers.org. You also can come to the Singapore blog for regular announcement and posting from the Singapore sketches. And please join us on our Facebook group, because we share a lot of things on Facebook. And you can ask questions, and sketchers will be happy to answer some of your queries as well. Alright? So we'll put this up a little bit later.